All right, on today's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our smart contracts project. Let's have a look at what we went over today. Now, I told you today we're going over the second half of our visibility section of the smart contracts module. So let's pick up where we left off. The next topics we're going to be going over in this particular section are called the view and the pure. Additionally, we can make a function that returns a value. This is how we can do this in the example below. For example, let's look at the example given in the favorites.vy file. I'll show you that in a second. That uses the def retrieve function. Notice that we have an arrow function with an unsigned integer. Let me fix this. It's an unsigned int 256. And after the function name, then we have return.self, my favorite name. This is how we can return a value from a function in Vyper, similar to hitting the blue button, my favorites button in the Remix IDE. When we carry out this process, this will open up an orange box inside of the Remix that says retrieve. Now note we should keep in mind that unless we specifically tell the Vyper compiler that the button is not a transaction, it would assume that we're meaning to send a transaction. Also note when we hit the blue my favorite number button, we're not actually sending a transaction. We are just reading some state from the blockchain. We're not updating the state of the blockchain, so we don't need to spend any gas to do that. Now, however, when we call store or hit the orange store button, we are updating the state of the blockchain, and we have to spend gas to actually update the state of the blockchain. So that's why the store button is orange to signify that this is going to be a spin, or this is going to spin gas because it is a transaction. Unlike the blue my favorite number button, which signifies that it would be a spinning any gas at all because it's just a view option. So the orange buttons are for transactions, and the blue buttons are just for viewing purposes. Now this brings us back to the orange retrieve button. Even though it is orange, we're not updating anything. We're just returning the value of my favorite number. But if we call or just the orange retrieve button, as it is, it will act as if it is sending a transaction, and in this case, spin gas. So basically, we want to make it so that we can hit the retrieve button without spinning any gas. We have to modify it so we can change the retrieve button from orange to blue. And I can show you what section we're going to be. I do have a bunch of examples because we moved far ahead in the modules. So we are well past that point now in the actual coursework. But I have to come back to show you in the actual work here. So this is the section we're at now. And this is how a transactions cause a view function, which causes gas. Let me see if I can get the one that doesn't cause gas at all. Is this one here. So this is how we can do it that doesn't cause any gas. So you can see here we have our function, then we have another function, and then we have the view button here. So this view is going to allow us to view this function here without spending any gas because it's not going to be treated as a transaction. It's just going to be treated as a pure viewing function. And again, I'll show you this tomorrow when we open up the Remix IDE. I know I'm kind of all over the place with it, but it'll work better when I show you in the Remix IDE when I can actually show you a hands-on example. But I'm not going to do that right now because the video will be too long. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And right now we're just working with the add view. We didn't get into the add pure yet. So yeah, we're going to be focused on the add view. And again, the add view is going to allow us to retrieve data without spending any gas because it's going to be treated as a pure viewing function and not a transaction function. But of course, I'll keep you posted every step of the way. For now, it's the Python Papi. You guys stay Gucci.